this has been one of the hardest parts of being in my 40s is that I have felt like I'm too old. And I know I'm not old.
I don't know what the North Star is. I don't know what the next thing is, partially because Broadway is the pinnacle. And when you've achieved it, I got there and I was like, oh God, do I just keep trying to do this?
Notice the way you will pick up an anxious thought, almost like a joint, to blow it off or at least delay your next creative action.
Oh my God.
Let me fix it. Welcome back. It's week 8 of The Artist Way. Delon, how did you do this week? Pages, artist date.
I did not do so well this week on the pages.
Ooh, okay.
Actually, I did. I think 4 out of the 7. But I only compare that because I have been doing 7 pretty consistently.
4 out of 7 is still very good.
I mean, but that's more than half, right?
Yeah.
And my artist date was I just went dancing yesterday.
Oh.
I haven't done that in a minute, so I went dancing, which was really, really great. I went dancing with a friend, and they really wanted to dance with me, and I was like, I just want to dance.
Wow.
But I mean, I danced with them, obviously, but it was a good time. How about you? How did you do?
I did okay on my pages. I also did not get all 7 days. I'm really committing this week. I think I similarly got about 4 out of the 7 days. And this was the first week that I did not do an artist date. Things got away from me. I got really slammed with work. I ended up working over the weekend, and the weekends are usually when I do my artist date. So I'm going to see if I can get a second one in this week, but I'm also like, I'm not going to be super hard on myself. Shit happens. Yeah. We still have many weeks ahead of ourselves. Were there anything in the pages that you wanted to talk about? Because I highlighted so many things when it comes to recovering a sense of strength.
There's one thing in particular that I read and I was like, Francesca.
Okay.
I wrote down a note about it in the book. It says,
"Oh shit."
Focused on process, our creative life retains a sense of adventure. Focused on product, the same creative life can feel foolish or barren. And the reason I wrote that down is because, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because you live your life. I just live it adjacent. Because I think the way that the internet is so immediate and you have to have it a take, you have to put it out, you have to capitalize on the thing. I wonder if your creative process has gone so much more toward the product and less on the process. And that's not a judgment on it, but I think your writing has really extended in part of let me phrase it this way versus like trying to qualify. I think that your process is so rich. I think you doing the work that you do is so rich, and you get reward from that. You go, God, I fucking wrote, God, I fucking did it. But I think you've had several disappointments in your life when it comes to having your products realized on TV and film and things like that. And and she talks about this in this chapter too. Yes. Let those disappointments live. Please mourn them, but then get up and continue to work, which you do. Yeah. But I just thought about that. I was like, God, man, her process is so, again, rich. And I wanted to point that out because like you do say to me like, fuck, I did it. I completed this thing. I wrote 2 songs this weekend. Right. And that's really valuable. And I say it to you as much as I say it to myself just as much as I say it to you. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really interesting because I think a little bit differently in the sense that like, I really haven't been making a lot of content. I started this job in February. I've been focusing on the podcast, of course, but I have not been making topical stuff responding to what's been happening in the world. I really kind of let that go. But I will say you did zero in on some things that I felt in these pages in that I have put in so much work into all of these TV shows. Class, I've sold 6 television shows and none of them have gone to series. And the disappointment of not having a finished product, even though I had a script, right? Or even though I've shot these pilots, not having anything to show for it, like externally, has been really difficult. And one of the things that I highlighted among many was the unmourned disappointment becomes the barrier that separates us from future dreams. And that hit me so hard because when that first Comedy Central pilot didn't go, I really didn't get a chance to mourn. We shot the pilot, it didn't go. They ordered a 10 episode writer's room. We wrote for 12 weeks. And so I kind of was being told by my whole team, they never do this. They're going to make the show. It's going to happen. But it was like they were dangling it over our heads. And then it didn't go. And I just kind of had to move on. And I, was doing the book at the same time. My marriage was falling apart. I got divorced the
So
next
many
year.
things happening
I
at
just
once.
I just went through, my dogs died. It was just like one thing after another. And I've had some pretty major disappointments that legally I can't talk about, and that realization of like, oh, I'm carrying this around with me into other projects because I'm so
Mm.
wounded from what happened. I remember I'd had a project die and the circumstances were so negative that when I was in a writer's room at Amazon, my showrunner, like first week, sent me an email and the subject line just said, "Hey." And I fell apart. I broke down in tears before I even opened it because I just assumed I was being fired.
Mm.
I was like, "Oh, cool."
Mm.
I opened the email and it was like, "Hey, I'm really glad that you're here. You bring so much positive stuff to this project." And it was this realization of like, oh, I have PTSD from that last
Mm.
job that was so negative and devastating. And, you know, reading this talking about in order to move through loss, we must acknowledge and share it. Because artistic
Mm.
losses are seldomly openly acknowledged or mourned, they become artistic scar tissue that blocks artistic growth. If artistic creations are our brain children, artistic losses are our miscarriages.
Ooh.
That hit me so hard because I was like, yeah,
Mm.
I have a lot of scar tissue.
Mm.
And we talked about this before in the pod, and someone said in the comments, like, oh, it's like weird for me to hear Francesca say she's embarrassed about her career. And I countered to say that it's not that I'm embarrassed, it's that it is so painful to spend years on something.
Mm.
Years. The project that died after the strike, I worked on that for 3 years and it died, and I just wasn't allowed to talk about it.
Mm.
And, I had a giant, very famous celebrity attached. I have to see that celebrity I've seen this person at parties, I've seen them on television. And every single time it was just like a little stab in my heart of like, or I would see people say, oh, I wish a show like this, blah, 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 blah existed. And I was just like, yeah, me too. That
Mm.
sounds like a thing that I made. Or when people would say to me, I was on Superstore and I did 10 episodes of that show and my character didn't really say very much. And then the show got canceled. And people would say to me, they'd be like, oh, I wish you acted more. Why aren't you in more stuff? I watched the show and why didn't your character say anything? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know.
Well, and I would add too, like both of those examples of the show that died and Superstore are so focused on the product. To her point,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It feels like a lot of our creativity is contingent on having this thing, to use your phrase, to show for it. And I
Yes.
think what I'm learning in this creative recovery is that the process, as much as hard as that is, to accept,
Yeah.
the process is the point.
Yes.
I I want to go, I did a thing, please clap for me, because it's the
Mm-hmm.
nature of being an artist. It's the nature of being a performer. You do something and people praise you for it, or they give you some kind of feedback based on that, right? But like divorcing yourself from that, I think, is
Yeah.
immensely difficult. But maybe it's not necessarily the need to divorce yourself from it, but it's like yes, and the
Mm-hmm.
product matters, and if it goes, awesome. But I learned X, Y, and Z from it, and that sounds a
Yes.
little Pollyanna,
Well, and
but
that's what this chapter is about. The gain disguised as loss. That like
yeah.
we still get something. I highlighted this. In order to catch the ball, you have to want to catch the ball.
Ooh, that was such a good quote. Who was that from? John Cassavetes or something like that? I think
Yes,
it's,
John
yeah.
Cassavetes, and talking about gain disguised as loss. To acquire it, to acquire it, simply brutally ask, how can this loss serve me? Where does it point my work? And she talks a lot about the actor that's like, oh, I'm not acting. Well, girl, you can act. You
Right.
can go down to that local theater. You can write a
Today.
thing. You can send out an email to your friends who's doing a staged reading. You can get a play. Like, you can make something. And I think what I'm hearing from you, Delon, that you kind of zeroed in on, and I feel like I have been circling this, like when I produced that Leopards, the choir or the mariachi, where I was like, cool, you guys aren't hiring me. I'm going to hire myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to make my own thing. Shamika and I are working on a feature right now. I'm working on a digital series that I'm hoping to shoot this summer. And it's like, okay, there are no jobs. I will make my own jobs. Stand up. I submitted
Yeah.
I put together a show and submitted it to New York Comedy Festival.
Good for
If we
you.
don't get into New York Comedy Festival, guess what? We about to do it right in our backyard. Like, just
Yeah.
the realization of like, okay, this didn't work. How do I pivot and make something out of this is really important. And I have been doing, but this really was giving me permission to acknowledge that those disappointments like really hurt me,
Yeah.
and that they stunted me in some ways. I mean, I still
Yeah.
picked myself up, I still
Yeah.
was like,
You have
let me
to.
sell another thing. But man, I didn't really give myself time to process, and I did have a lot of embarrassment.
Yeah.
When the Deadline article comes out and then everyone's like, "What happened to that show?" And you're just like, "It died. It
Yeah.
died." And like, but you're allowed to say it.
You have to say it, is what she's
Yes.
saying. You actually
Yes.
have to say it. And I remember a couple of times you talking about being at parties and people being like, it's very LA for people to be like, hey, well, what are you working on next? And
Yeah.
and you kind of worked out like a script where you were like, you would counter that. And a couple of times you were like, no, I'm actually really sad. I'm actually really kind of heartbroken.
Or I just left. I left.
That's self-care that you need. And I think my point is, like, you're already on that journey, but like figuring out a way, even if it's now in the moment, to mourn those things. Maybe you have to do it collectively, but having that knowledge, I think, is helpful.
Yeah.
One of the things that keeps coming up for me is I said to you, I recorded 3 different voice memos or like voice notes, and I never sent them to you
Why?
because they were so.
Did you start
frantic.
crying?
Yes. I was on the verge. I think one starter was like, I'm on the verge of tears and I can't. They were just like a little incoherent, but I think I just needed to record them to say it.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with an immense amount of anxiety.
Yeah.
And I think the pages, the book are really kind of bubbling that up for me. And we know that the law narrative is, I do too many things. I'm too many things to too many people. And I have a hard time going, no, I'm not available. I can't do that. There are a lot of things that I want to do creatively. And I do always, similar to you, I have a bunch of shit on my plate all the time. And I'm kind of just juggling, right? I need a vacation. I need a moment to sit down. I need to sit at home. Today, I actually stayed home from work. And I was like, can I do this? And I was like, you know what? You actually can. I stayed home just to like collect my thoughts and to fucking sleep. I watched TV and stayed in bed all fucking day.
Good for you.
I mean, I didn't feel well, but but like the anxiety is like, it's telling me over and over, and I'm in the pages, I'm writing it over and over. You have to do less. You have to like say no. You have to avoid your inbox. You know what I mean? And I know we all have a lot of shit to do. I don't have no fucking kids. If I can imagine you have 3 kids and a job and a husband and a family and a dog. And a dog, you know what I mean? And a mortgage and a car payment. Like, I can't imagine. We all have shit. But it's like my mind is going and my spirit is going, you have to figure out a way to prioritize this.
Yes.
And the pages are telling me, the book is telling me, I don't know what the next step is, but I'm really grateful that every day I'm facing it. Every day I'm writing those 3 fucking pages and I'm like, oh, I'm really fucking anxious. Even writing these things, I'm thinking about all the shit I have to do. So that's not really, there's no solution to that just yet, but it's something that's coming up for me on a regular basis with all of this.
One of the assignments, I feel like, kind of addressed this idea of like, what is your North Star and like, how will that be actualized? And then like, what does it look like 5 years from now, 3 years from now, 1 year from now? Did you do that homework assignment? I
I
felt
didn't
like
do
that.
any of these tasks.
Ooh, okay. Well,
See, and
and
that's where I failed.
and that might be worth thinking about, because
Yeah.
I did think that one was hard for me, but I did like that one because you are really making an action plan. Like
Yeah.
really
Oh my
come
God.
up with
Name your
like,
dream.
yes,
Wow. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this
and
tomorrow.
list the true north, and then select a role model, and then make the action plan. And what can you do right now that is pointing you towards that action plan? I really liked that. Um, you're
Class,
talking. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, just class. I'm having this in real time. Again, I didn't do the pages. I couldn't get to these tasks, but now I'm like, oh shit, this shit is good. I'm going to go back
Oh,
and
she
actually
cooked
do
with that
this
one. She
because
really
I
cooked with that
really
one.
need that. Continue. What were you going to say?
Yeah, well, you're circling around the anxiety. One of the things that really spoke to me is age and time, product and process. I highlighted I'm too old is something we tell ourselves to save ourselves from the emotional cost of the ego deflation involved in being a beginner. As a culture, we glorify youth and allow our youth the freedom to experiment, and we disparage our old timers but allow them the right to be a little crazy. Many
Mm,
blocked creatives tell themselves they are both too old and too young to allow themselves to pursue their dreams. This has been one of the hardest parts of being in my 40s, is that I have felt like I'm too old. And I
yeah.
know I'm not old, but like I just keep thinking about who I was in my 20s and like the things I was supposed to do, and that, like everyone is 27. Like
Girl.
everyone is 27, and like, and you know, we talked about jealousy and like, and seeing people do things that I wish that I had done, and me feeling like, oh, it's just too late. It's too late. I'm not going to ever be able to do those things. And
Yeah.
that's been really, really hard. And so, like, seeing that reflected in the pages was really like, I mean, like, look, I'm getting worked up clearly, but like, class, I've talked about this on the podcast. Like, I've been dealing with perimenopause symptoms, and it's been making me emotional, but it's been disrupting my sleep. I've been having like really bad hot flashes. I lost my fucking health insurance. And so, a lot of the testing that I would need to try and help me get this under control, I will have to pay for out of pocket. I spent 2 years seeing doctors and having them straight up gaslight me and say like, oh,
Mm,
you're too young. And I'm like, I know my body. And I feel like I feel like I don't know my body. um and as an actor, it's hard when it's like, okay, do a slate and show us your full body. And
mm.
and I'm like, God, what do I have in this closet that I could fucking still fit into?
Yes.
But I don't
Yes.
want to like throw everything out. I can't afford to buy a whole new wardrobe, and I don't feel like confident. I don't
Yeah.
I'm literally looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, I don't know who this person is. And so I really liked this idea of like, when we're super old, and Alex talked about this on the pod. Remember when he was like, "Oh, I'll go back to comedy when I'm like in my 60s."
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, "Wow, we totally say like, well, when I'm retired,
She
I'll just do
mentions that.
something
Yep.
I'll go do something crazy." And it's like, "No, you could do it right now." And so
One thing
stand up has kind of been that for me, but
One thing she says adjacent to that, I think just right after that, she goes, "You know how old you'll be." You know,
yes.
I forget how exactly it's phrased, but it's like, "Do you if you'll be the same age you were
If
if
you
you didn't
didn't.
play piano than if you
Yes.
never learned it, right?" So
Do
like,
you know how old I'll be by the time I learn to play the piano? The same age you will be if you don't.
exactly. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Thank you for that."
Yeah.
I'm dealing with the same thing with this age. I mean, with the body in particular, what the body is able to do,
Yeah.
um and also like the fear of expectation, like to continue along with the lines of when you're talking about being personal. Like, I've never been married, I've never really had a relationship. It's something that I want, but like, I don't, I'm dealing with my own kind of trauma, psychology around why I push people away and why I
Yeah.
don't really allow that to happen in my life. And I keep
Yeah.
questioning, like, Is that something it's probably not going to happen. It may just not happen in my life because of my own bullshit, right? But the reason I bring that up is because it's the time. It's the idea that like it's finite. And if I don't do it right now, which is anxiety, right? My
Yeah.
anxiety is I have so much to do and I have to do it right now. I have to do it right now. And what does that serve? You know, I need to reprioritize a lot of my thoughts and a lot of my feelings with the anxiety stuff, with the expectations they're in. But I think age for me is a big part of that. It's like someone asked me in my last show that just closed on Sunday, he was like, yeah, well, like you want to be on Broadway again, don't you? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. Like, yes, like if it comes along, but I'm kind of in this identity crisis of like, I enjoy teaching. I enjoy my life here in Boston in terms of being a healthier life and routine and consistency and all of that. But I don't know what the North Star is. I don't know what the next thing is, partially because Broadway is the pinnacle. And when you've achieved it, I got there and I was like, oh God, do I just keep trying to do this?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I want something different, you know?
Yeah.
The money is great. Please bring the money. Please bring that. But creatively, I think maybe it's being on another side of the table, being a directing, or I don't know. I love performing. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of waxing in a circle here because, again, this is my anxiety. I don't know. And I need to get a little bit clearer on it.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of related to this idea of filling the form. I really liked that in this week's pages. What do I mean by filling the form? I mean, taking the next small step instead of skipping ahead to the large one for which you may not yet be prepared. So kind of similarly, like, okay, Broadway is the pinnacle, but like, you don't have to think about that. You just think about what's the next small step that you're taking that's helping you get to the place that you want to be. And doing the work to do the work, you know?
That part, the process. In that same section, she says, by setting jumps too high and making the price tag too great, the recovering artist sets defeat in motion, right? So filling the form, the idea that like the expectation has to be something more than just process is one thing I thought was really, really valuable.
Ooh, wait, this is you. Most blocked creatives have an active addiction to anxiety. We prefer the low-grade pain. We prefer the low-grade pain and occasional heart-stopping panic attack to the drudgery of small and simple daily steps in the right direction.
It's so true.
Julia, you better drag Delon and I.
And, you know, it's as simple as my inbox, yo. Like, it's as simple as my inbox. I have so many emails that came in today that I avoided that I have to get to in the next. And, like, listen, let's be honest. I think there's a 48-hour window, right? There's a 48-hour window. Like, please, I'll get back to you when I get back to you.
And if it was an emergency, you know what they would do? Ring, ring.
Time sensitive.
Time sensitive, or pick up the phone.
Or pick up the phone. But to your point, if I know those things, if I know my anxieties exist around those things, why don't I chip away at them? I think it's because of what she's talking about. I prefer the low grade kind of pain versus like slowly tackling it, you know?
The odds are what we use to procrastinate about doing what comes next. This is our addiction to anxiety in lieu of action. Notice the way you will pick up an anxious thought almost like a joint to blow it off or at least delay your next creative action.
Oh my God. Not like a joint, though. Not like a joint.
She said, I'm talking to you.
I see you. Yeah, she's not wrong. She's not wrong.
Yeah. She dragged me from here to Timbuktu in these pages, but that's why we're doing it. You know,
I'm immensely grateful for it.
In class, Delon sent me a postcard in the mail, and I almost cried my little eyes out because I was like, "What is this?" And you know, I'm bad about checking the mail. The mail will be stacked up in there. I'm like, "God damn!" And then because I still get mail from like whoever lived here before me. I've lived in this apartment for 6 years. I don't know who this woman is. And I hope she's okay because all her shit is still coming here. So I'm going through and I'm like, what is this? Like, this is weird. And it's this beautiful postcard that just said, I've had these postcards for years, never sent them. And I decided to send it because of the artist way. And it made me feel so seen and so loved. And, I hear you on the thing of like, maybe you're never going to find love or whatever. And I would counter that you have found love. You are my soulmate, and we are
Mm,
doing this life together.
yeah.
And I don't believe that there is a time limit on love, And I think that if that is the thing that you want, the thing that I continue to tell you is you have to do the work to say that you want to get it.
I,
And doesn't happen overnight. It's just a thing you have
yeah.
that you have to work towards.
And I do think like in the reframe I would add there is that I do know that if the universe, higher power, energy, whatever you want to call it, it is telling me that I have work to do to love me. I have a lot of
Yes.
work to do to love me, a lot of it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so once I'm able to fully realize that and fall in love with myself, then I
Mm-hmm.
think that'll come. But the reason that like there's a buffer between me and whatever that relationship or love is because I really have to do that examination first. We're chipping away at it. We're chipping away at it.
Yeah, because that way you will be the best version of yourself for that partner. Because
Yeah.
you don't, because, I think this happens a lot of times where you meet somebody and you're like, oh my God, I really like this person, but I am not ready. I am not
Yeah.
ready. Like, I don't have my shit together. And it feels really painful when you're just like, the timing is just not right. And so, this is actually the time that you like double down on yourself and you do that work so that when you come out of this 12-week process, or you come out of the next 6 months, or however long it takes you to really feel self actualized, you will know when you meet that person, you'll be like, yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Yes.
I'm totally ready for this.
Yeah, and also like boundaries too, right?
Hmm.
Because I can get in relationships, I can get yes, 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 let's go, instead of being like, actually I don't do that, or actually, no, I don't want to spend the weekend with you because I actually have work to do. Instead, I'm
Right.
going, I'll be backed up on my work because I need to hang out,
Hmm.
this
Or
weekend.
asking for what you need. I mean, that's something that my
Yeah.
partner and I talk about a lot, that like I learned so much about myself in my divorce, that I
Mm,
was very clear. I've dated people before my current partner, but like I've set really clear parameters when I start dating someone, where I'm like, hey, these are things that are not going to fly with me. You need to
mm,
communicate with me. And there was a time in my life where I would settle and be okay with certain things because I felt that it was better to be in a relationship than not be in a relationship. And now I'm like, I love my life. I'm
yeah.
doing really fucking good. So if you about to be in the mix, you need to be additive. You
Right.
need to be part of the program, because
Right.
I get up at a certain time. I have my
Mm,
place be clean. I have, a life. I have certain things that I'm doing. And you're not about to come in here and mess up my schedule. You not.
yeah.
I don't need you that much. I got a fucking USB. Uh, she
You
is
better.
good to me.
She said, I know better than you. Um, honestly, though, I needed you to say that. I know that about you, but hearing you say it again, I can be so like, yes, I'll meet you at that time. Yes, I'll go. Knowing
I know, right? I got
I
a
have a
strict
lot
program.
of work to
Mm-hmm.
do, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I needed to hear all of that.
Yes. And I mean, not to go down the love train, but like that's one of the things I really like about my partner is like he's very busy. When we
Mm.
first started dating, I was like, how do I get on the schedule? He's like, I have this. But when we have a time planned, he says, I'll be there at 7:06, 7:05. Ding ding, I'm here.
Hmm.
It's on the calendar. We're together. Phones away. We not talk like
Yeah.
locked in. Things that I did not have in previous relationships, or I would just let slide because I was like,
Yeah.
well, I can't say like, hey, why aren't you here on the time that you said you were going to be here? I was dating that
Basic.
guy and he would be 2 hours late to
I don't
hanging out.
understand. I don't
I
understand.
said, no, we.
Not 2 hours late.
Right. But there was a time in my life where it's like,
Right.
I mean, it's better than nothing. He's going to be here at some point.
Right.
No, we can't do that.
Not on
I
today.
have things
She
to
has to go to
do.
bed by 9:30. Okay.
Oh My God. Class, week 8. We did it. Tell us, what was your artist date? How did you do with the pages? Was there anything that stuck out to you? Any challenges that you had? How many times did you cry? Because I only cried once on this episode.
I almost cried 3 times, but
You did?
no, not in the episode. Sending you those voice
Oh,
notes.
God damn it. Well. But you know what I will say, Delon, and to you, class? Just save those in your phone. Don't
Yeah.
send them to me. Just save them for yourself. And maybe if you feel like it's good enough to send to me, send it. But just record them for yourself. Let me tell you, sometimes when I'm feeling real saucy, I go back and I listen to the voice note that I made for myself the night I knew I needed a divorce. And when I hear that version of Francesca, I'm yelling and cursing and crying. And Shamika is asleep in the next room because it was when we were out here for pilot season. And I am fucking going through it. And I'm talking myself through why I'm at this point in my life. And Francesca today is like, damn, if I could go back and tell that version of myself, it's fine.
Yeah.
You're going to be okay. I think it'll be very healing for you that like a few months from now, you'll listen to it. I have some voice notes where I'm like, I don't even know who I'm talking about. I'm mad at this person and this and that. And I don't remember, but at the moment it felt so pivotal. And today it makes me go, man, there are things I'm dealing with today that 6 months from now, I won't remember.
Yeah.
I don't know. I won't know what this shit was about, but it feels really important now.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be. And so just letting that kind of pass through. And I think with your anxiety, it's similar. You are feeling this anxiety now. You are not going to feel this anxiety forever.
It's true. It's true. Especially when, my show closed and that was a thing. I was like, oh, that's done. Oh, I don't have to do that anymore. I I can get the other stuff done. Thank you for that. I do need to sit down and just continue to let shit out because the pages are a big help there. But there's something about speaking it because I don't know. And so when you just kind of spew it out, you'll find a nugget and you go, oh, that's what it is. It's like very therapy. That's happens in therapy a lot. My therapist would take that one nugget and like ask me questions around it. And I go, oh my God, that's what it is. Thank you for helping me figure that out. So I appreciate that. Class, listen, here we go. We have 4 more weeks?
Yeah.
4 more weeks. I'm proud of you.
Wow.
No matter how much you got done, no matter how many pages you wrote, we're here for you. Thank you for joining us on the journey.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.